The lawyer handed my son a check for $5 million. My son turned to me immediately. "Dad, you've lived off me long enough. Get out." His wife stood behind him, hand on his shoulder, whispering something I couldn't hear. I picked up my suitcase without argument. They celebrated that night. $800 champagne. I checked into a motel. $86 a night. Room 216. They thought they'd won. They had no idea about the other $200 million. And they definitely didn't know I'd recorded their conversation 10 minutes before he kicked me out. 4 minutes, 23 seconds. Every word about how they wished I'd die sooner. In chess, sometimes you sacrifice your queen to checkmate the king. I just let them take $5 million. Checkmate comes in 12 months. This story has more twists than a will rewritten 3 times. If you've ever worried about entitled kids or thought about inheritance, stay with me. Comment where you're listening from. I want to know I'm not alone in this. Because what happened next changed everything I thought I knew about family, money, and love. My name is Vincent Morrison. Vince, 71 years old. I spent 43 years as a pharmacist. Started with one small shop in Austin, Texas, back in 1981. Grew it into Morrison's Community Pharmacy, 15 locations across Austin, Houston, and San Antonio. Sold the whole chain to CVS in August 2020 for $218 million. That money, I invested it. By 2024, the portfolio had grown to $283 million. But my son Ethan only knew about the $5 million in Helen's trust. Let me back up. Ethan is 38, only child, and I spoiled him rotten. 1992, he wanted a bicycle. $800. I bought it instead of making him earn it. 2006, Stanford tuition, $320,000. I paid every cent. 2012 through 2018, he tried 6 different startups. Every single one failed. I pumped in $1.8 million total. Don't worry, son. Try again. 2015, I started giving him an allowance, $6,200 a month. He was 30 years old. The allowance continued for 9 years, until 3 weeks ago, 2019, he married Jessica Crawford, former fitness influencer. I bought them a penthouse as a wedding gift, $8.3 million, 12B at 401 West Avenue, downtown Austin. I told myself I was being generous. Helen told me I was creating a monster. November 2021, Helen was dying, pancreatic cancer, stage 4. We had 6 weeks. She grabbed my hand in the hospice. "Vince, promise me something. Anything. Don't destroy our son with money." "I won't." "You already have. Every time you rescued him, you stole his chance to grow up." Her eyes were clear despite the morphine. "I've set something up with Samuel. A test. 12 months. If Ethan passes, he gets everything. If he fails..." She squeezed my hand. "Then we activate the foundation. Help kids who actually want to work, who can't afford pharmacy school, who need medication they can't pay for. Helen, promise me you'll follow through, even if it hurts." I promised. She died 6 days later, December 5th, 2022. I cried at her funeral. Ethan didn't come, said he had the flu. Later I found out he was in Cabo with Jessica, posted Instagram photos from a beachside resort. That should have been my first clue, but I was grieving, and when you're grieving, you make excuses for people you love. Helen's voice kept echoing. "Don't destroy him with money." I didn't listen then. I kept paying his allowance. Kept answering when he called asking for small loans of 10, 20, 30,000. Kept enabling him until 3 hours ago. When I overheard that conversation. And I realized Helen was right. I'd already destroyed him. The only question now was whether I could save him by taking everything away. 3:15 p.m. Samuel Grayson sat at the dining table in the penthouse. Expensive view, expensive furniture. Everything paid for by me. Samuel opened his briefcase. "We're here to read the relevant portions of the Helen Morrison Revocable Family Trust." Ethan leaned forward. Jessica stood behind him, hand on his shoulder. Samuel read the legalese, then the important part. "The trustee hereby distributes $5 million to Ethan Morrison as the first installment." First installment. Those words hung in the air. Ethan's eyes lit up. "First? How much total?" Samuel's face stayed neutral. "That information will be disclosed at the appropriate time." He handed Ethan a check. "Wells Fargo, check number 8832, $5 million, 00 cents. Ethan stared at it. $5 million? Jessica's grip tightened on his shoulder. "Baby, this is amazing." I sat across from them, waiting, hoping he'd turn to me and say, "Dad, you okay? Do you need anything?" Instead, Ethan looked at Samuel. "So when do we find out about the rest?" 12 months from today, assuming all conditions are met. What conditions? Samuel glanced at me. Standard trust provisions. We'll discuss them later. Ethan folded the check, put it in his pocket. Okay, thanks, Mr. Grayson. Samuel packed his briefcase, looked at me one more time, some unspoken communication, then he left. I sat there, waiting. Ethan stood. Babe, let's go deposit this. Wait, Jessica's voice. Your dad's still here. Ethan looked at me like he'd forgotten I existed. Oh, yeah, Dad. Thanks for everything. Everything meaning what? You know, raising me. The money over the years. The money, not the love, not the time, not the baseball games or camping trips or late-night talks. The money. Jessica whispered something in his ear. He nodded. Dad, Jess and I have been talking. Now that I have my own money, it's time for me to take responsibility, be independent. That's good, I said carefully. So we think it's best if you find your own place. The words hit like a fist. My own place. Yeah, I mean, this penthouse is pretty tight for 3 people, and you're retired now. You could find a nice apartment. We'll help you move. Jessica smiled. Warm, fake. Mr. Morrison, we just think everyone needs their own space. It's healthier. I looked at my son. You want me to leave? It's not about want, Dad. It's about growing up, both of us. When? Well, Ethan glanced at Jessica. Today would be good. We can call you an Uber. Today. I'd lived in this penthouse since 2019. I'd paid for it. My name wasn't on the deed. I'd put it in Ethan's name for tax reasons, but this was my home, and he was kicking me out with 10 minutes' notice. I see. I stood, walked to the guest room I'd been staying in, pulled out my old Samsonite suitcase, navy blue, 20 kilograms when packed, 4 shirts, 3 pairs of pants, toiletries, laptop, 1 photo of Helen. 71 years of life packed into 20 kilograms. I walked back to the living room. Ethan was on his phone. Jessica was texting. Neither looked up. I'm ready. Ethan glanced up. Uber's 3 minutes away. Okay. I stood there with my suitcase. This penthouse. The view of Lady Bird Lake. The kitchen where I'd made breakfast for Ethan 1,000 times. The balcony where Helen and I used to watch sunsets. All of it. Gone. 3 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Uber's here. Well? I picked up the suitcase. Goodbye, Ethan. Bye, Dad. We'll call you soon. He wouldn't. I walked to the elevator, pressed the button, turned around one last time. Ethan had his arm around Jessica. They were both looking at the check. They didn't look at me. The elevator doors closed. I rode down 12 floors in silence. The doorman was Miguel. He'd worked the building for 8 years. He saw my suitcase. His face fell. Mr. Morrison. It's all right, Miguel. No, it's not. He lowered his voice. I'm sorry for what I saw up there. What did you see? The way they looked at you. After that lawyer left. Like you were... He stopped. Like I was what? Like you were in the way. I nodded. Don't be sorry, Miguel. They needed to feel powerful. The Uber pulled up. Toyota Camry. Young driver, maybe 20. She looked at me. At the suitcase. At Miguel's expression. Sir, you okay? I smiled. I'm fine. I wasn't fine, but pride survives when everything else dies. 16-minute drive in silence. Every second felt like a year. Where to, sir? Motel 6, 183 South I-35, Round Rock. That's... You sure? There's nicer. I'm sure. Room 216, $86 per night. Weekly rate $520, small bed, old TV, smell of Lysol and regret. I sat on the edge of the bed, suitcase still packed, because if I unpacked, it became real. If I unpacked, I was truly homeless. 71 years old. Homeless. My phone buzzed. Text from Miguel. Mr. Morrison, I'm sorry. They just ordered an $800 bottle of champagne. Dom Perignon. They're celebrating. I stared at that text for a long time. Then I opened my laptop. Called Samuel Grayson's cell. He answered on the first ring. Vince, you okay? Activate Clause 7B. Start the clock. You're sure? 365 days, Samuel. They have 1 year to prove they deserve that money. And if they fail? Then we activate Clause 9C. A pause. Helen would be proud. I hung up. Lay back on the cheap motel bed, stared at the popcorn ceiling. They thought they'd won. They had no idea the game had just started. Day 3, Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Samuel knocked on room 216. I opened the door. He took one look at the motel room and his jaw tightened. Vince, Jesus, it's fine. No, it's not fine. You sold a company for $218 million. You're sleeping in a motel that charges by the week. Sit down, Samuel. He sat in the only chair. I sat on the bed. Tell me about Clause 7B. Samuel pulled out a folder. 89 pages. The full trust document. Page 56. I read. Clause 7B. Elder care dignity requirement. The beneficiary receiving distributions under this trust must provide housing, medical care, and social contact to the grantor, Vincent Morrison, consistent with the grantor's established standard of living. Failure to meet this requirement constitutes material breach. Consequence: immediate forfeiture of all distributed funds plus 18% annual statutory interest and permanent disqualification from future distributions. I read it twice. Helen wrote this. We wrote it together, November 2021, 6 days before she died. She knew. She suspected the way Ethan acted during her illness, never visiting, always asking when she'd be gone, always asking about money. I felt something crack in my chest. Not heartbreak, clarity. So Ethan kicking me out. Automatic violation. The clock started March 14th at 3:35 p.m. We have 365 days to file a claim in probate court. If we prove material breach, he forfeits the $5 million plus interest. How much interest? Samuel pulled out a calculator. 18% annually on $5 million. If we go to court in 12 months, that's roughly $900,000. Total repayment, $5,900,000. I leaned back. Helen, you genius. She loved your son, Vince, but she loved him enough to save him from himself. What do I need to do? Document everything. Every violation. Every time he fails to contact you, check on you, provide care. And if he tries to put me in a nursing home, even better, especially if it's substandard. That proves intent. Samuel hesitated. There's more. What? I went back to the penthouse yesterday, picked up some papers I'd left. I overheard Ethan and Jessica talking. And Jessica was on her laptop, researching nursing facilities. My hands went cold. What kind? The cheapest she could find. Sunset Valley Care in Lubbock, $800 a month, 4 hours away, no visitors policy during COVID restrictions. She wants to warehouse me. Yes, to save money. Yes, she said, quote, if we put him in the cheapest place, we save $4,000 a month. Over 10 years, that's almost $500,000. Over 10 years. As if they'd already decided how long I'd live. And Ethan? What did he say? Samuel's face was grim. He laughed. Silence in room 216. Then I said, I need you to do something. What? I still have a key to the penthouse. Ethan forgot to ask for it back. Tomorrow night, I'm going back. There's medication I forgot. Blood pressure pills. And if they happen to be discussing their plans while I'm there, well, Texas is a one-party consent state. Samuel understood. You're going to record them. I'm going to document everything, like you said. Be careful. I'm 71, Samuel. Careful is all I have left. He stood to leave. Clause 9C. What about it? When the time comes, and it will come, I'll need your authorization to activate it. What does it do? That's Helen's surprise. She made me promise not to tell you unless Ethan fails the test. He's going to fail. I know. So did Helen. Samuel put his hand on my shoulder. 365 days, Vince. Clock's ticking. He left. I sat in the motel room, thought about my son. About the little boy who used to climb into my lap and say, Daddy, tell me about pills. The teenager who helped me count inventory. The young man I'd been so proud of when he got into Stanford. Gone. All of him. Gone. Replaced by someone who calculated the cost of keeping his father alive. My phone buzzed. Text from Ethan. Hey, Dad. Hope we're settling in okay. No capital letters. No punctuation. Settling in. Like I'd moved into a vacation home instead of a motel room that reeked of strangers and desperation. I didn't reply. Helen's voice in my head. Don't destroy him with money. Too late, Helen. I already did. But maybe I can still save him by taking everything away. Day 5, Tuesday night, 11:30 p.m. I parked my Honda Accord 3 blocks from the penthouse. Walked through the lobby. Miguel was off shift. Night guy didn't know me. Can I help you? I left some medication at 12B. My son lives there. Name? Vincent Morrison. He checked his computer, frowned. You're not on the approved list. I won't be long. 5 minutes. He looked at me. Old man, rumpled coat, tired eyes. 5 minutes. I took the elevator up, used my key, opened the door as quietly as possible. The lights were off in the living room, but I heard voices from the bedroom. Door was cracked open. I moved toward the bathroom, where I'd left my pills, but I stopped, because I heard Jessica's voice. I'm just saying, babe, 20 years is a long time. I pulled out my iPhone, hit record, walked closer to the bedroom door. Ethan's voice. I know, but what can we do? He's my dad. He's costing us money. $6,000 a month in that motel. We've been paying it. Wait, what? And he's going to need medical care, hip replacement, cancer screening, all that old people stuff. We're talking hundreds of thousands. So what do you suggest? I found this place in Lubbock. Sunset Valley Care. $800 a month. We could move him there next month. That's 4 hours away. Exactly. We wouldn't have to visit all the time. And it's cheap. We save $4,000 a month. That's $48K a year. Silence. Then Ethan. But won't people judge? Putting him in the cheapest home? Jessica's voice turned sharp. Who cares? He's old, babe. Nobody checks on old people. Once he's there, he's out of sight, out of mind. I guess. Think about it. That $48,000 a year? Over 10 years, that's almost $500,000. That's a down payment on a lake house. We just got $5 million. And we're going to get more, right? That lawyer said this was the first installment. Your mom must have left more. Maybe a lot more. Maybe. So we invest the $5 million. Put your dad somewhere cheap and wait. Wait for what? For the rest. For him to... She trailed off. To die? I'm not saying that. I'm saying he's 71. Actuarial tables say he's got maybe 15 years. That's a long time to maintain his lifestyle. 15 years, said like a prison sentence. Besides, Jessica continued, if we play this right, we could probably get more money from the trust sooner. Push your dad to release it. How? Stress. Old people don't do well with stress. If he's in a nursing home, isolated, stressed, things happen faster. My hand tightened on the phone. Jess, I'm just being practical. Your mom clearly wanted you to have money. We're just accelerating the timeline. 4 minutes, 23 seconds of recording. I backed away from the door, grabbed my pill bottle from the bathroom, left. In the elevator, I played it back, made sure it was audible. It was, crystal clear. Miguel was back when I got to the lobby. 3 a.m., graveyard shift. Mr. Morrison, what are you doing here? I showed him the pill bottle. Forgot my medication. He looked at my face. Whatever he saw there made him step closer. Are you okay? No, Miguel. No, I'm not. What happened? I almost told him. Almost played the recording. But I stopped. Let me ask you something. You have kids? 3, 9, 11, and 14. Do you love them? More than anything. What if one of them grew up and stopped loving you back? Miguel's face softened. Mr. Morrison, what if they only cared about your money? About how much you could give them? And once the money was gone, you were just inconvenient. I'd be heartbroken. Yeah, I put the pill bottle in my pocket. Heartbroken. I walked out, drove back to the motel, sat on the bed, played the recording 3 more times. 20 years is a long time. $800 a month. We save $48K a year. Things happen faster. At 4 a.m. I called Samuel. Vince, it's 4 in the morning. I have it. Have what? The recording. Jessica talking about putting me in the cheapest nursing home, calculating how much they'd save, discussing accelerating the timeline. Silence on the other end. Samuel, send it to me. Encrypted. Right now. What does this mean? It means Clause 7B isn't just violated. It's obliterated. This is elder financial abuse. Possibly criminal. What do I do? Nothing, yet. Keep documenting. Let them think you're weak, broken. Let them dig deeper. How deep? Until they hit bedrock, until there's no way back. And then? Then we bury them with their own words. I hung up, lay back on the motel bed. For the first time since Helen died, I felt something like hope. Not hope that I'd get my son back. That ship had sailed. Hope that I could save him from himself, by destroying the person he'd become. Day 8. Samuel came to the motel with a woman. Vince, this is Patricia Caldwell, private investigator. Patricia was 51. No-nonsense haircut. Eyes that had seen everything twice. Mr. Morrison, I'm sorry we're meeting under these circumstances. What can you do for me? Surveillance, financial forensics, background checks, documentation that holds up in court. Cost? $8,500 retainer, $65 an hour after that. I thought about the $283 million sitting in various accounts. Money Ethan didn't know existed. Hire her, I told Samuel. Patricia pulled out a contract. I signed. What do you need me to find? Everything. Where my son goes, who he sees, how he spends the money, especially how he spends it. You think he's being irresponsible? I think he's being exactly who I raised him to be, and I need documentation of that. Patricia nodded. GPS tracker on his Tesla? Is that legal? If you own the vehicle, yes. Do you? I bought it. It's in his name. Gray area, but I can work around it. Public surveillance. Bank records if we can get them. Samuel interjected. I'm the trustee. I can subpoena transaction records if there's evidence of trust violation. Perfect. Patricia made notes. Give me 2 weeks, I'll have a preliminary report. She left. Samuel stayed. Day 12, he said. I'm going to connect you with someone else. Who? Detective Lawrence Bennett, Financial Crimes Unit, Austin PD. Police. What Ethan and Jessica are doing, planning to isolate you, accelerate your death, take your money, that's not just civil, it's criminal. Elder financial abuse, Texas Penal Code Section 32.53. What does that mean? It means if we can prove intent to exploit you financially, Ethan faces 2 to 20 years in state prison. Prison! The word felt unreal. I know he's your son, but what he's doing is a crime. I thought about the recording. Things happen faster. Make the introduction. Day 12. Detective Bennett came to the motel. Mid-40s. Badge number 6382. Wedding ring. Tired eyes. Mr. Morrison, I've reviewed your attorney's preliminary brief. And you've got a potential case for elder financial abuse, but we need more. What more? Pattern of behavior. Financial records showing exploitation. Ideally recorded statements showing intent. I played him the recording. 4 minutes 23 seconds. Bennett's face didn't change until the end. Then, Jesus Christ, that's my son. That's a sociopath with good lawyers. He rubbed his face. Okay, here's what we do. I'll open a case file. Austin PD case number 2024-EA-1523. Elder abuse investigation. What do you need from me? Everything. Financial records, the trust document, any and all recordings, timeline of events, witness statements. How long? To build a criminal case, 90 days minimum. But there's a problem. What? Statute of limitations on some claims. We've got a window. If we don't act within 90 days of certain violations, we lose the ability to prosecute. So we have 90 days. 90. To build the case, yes. After that, we move. Bennett stood. Mr. Morrison, one more thing. What? Why are you doing this? Why not just cut him off? Disappear? You clearly have money somewhere. I looked at this detective, this stranger who understood more about my situation than my own son. Because he's my son. And maybe if he faces real consequences, loses everything, goes to prison, hits rock bottom, maybe he'll finally learn what Helen tried to teach him, which is, that character matters more than money, and that you can't steal your way to happiness. Bennett nodded. I hope you're right, for his sake. He left. Day 15. I moved to a new motel, cheaper, $42 a night. Monthly rate $980. My bank balance still showed millions. I could afford the Four Seasons. But I needed Ethan to believe I was broke. Desperate. Broken. Let him feel powerful. Day 22. Patricia called. I've got something. What? Your daughter-in-law, Jessica Morrison. She's meeting a man regularly, 3 times a week. My stomach dropped. An affair? Potentially. The Hideout Cafe, 6th Street. Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, 10 a.m. Who is he? Working on it. I've got photos. Should have identification by end of week. Send everything to Samuel. Already did. Day 30. Patricia called again. Got him. Connor Sheffield, 35. Lists himself as a crypto investment advisor. Is that real? His fund is called Crypto Velocity. Promises 20% annual returns. I ran a background check. And Crypto Velocity is a shell company.
Registered in Delaware 3 months ago. No real assets. Classic pump and dump structure. So he's a con artist. Yes, and your daughter-in-law has been meeting him 43 times since March. Bank records? Samuel got them.
Jessica transferred $280,000 from a joint account to Crypto Velocity Fund. Joint account meaning Ethan's money, too. Yes. Does Ethan know? Unknown. But there's more. What? Text messages. We pulled them from iCloud with a subpoena. Jessica to Connor. May 15th. Quote, once the old man dies, we get $200 million. $10 million for you if you help me. I froze. $200 million. She knows. Or thinks she knows. Ethan must have guessed. Must have told her there's more money. What else is in those texts? Patricia's voice went flat. Discussions about life insurance, about whether you have any, about how stress causes heart attacks in elderly men, about nursing homes with poor supervision. I closed my eyes. They're not just greedy, they're dangerous. Yes, Mr. Morrison, they are. Send everything to Bennett. Already done. He's building a case for wire fraud now. Federal charges. Wire fraud. Federal prison. My son, day 45. Bennett called. Vince, we've got movement on the offshore accounts. What offshore accounts? Your son opened an account in the Cayman Islands, March 28th. Transferred $420,000. From the $5 million? Yes. Then another transfer April 3rd, $180,000. Another April 18th, $95,000. Total? $695,000 moved offshore in 30 days. Why? Money laundering, probably. Hiding assets, setting up for more fraud. We're coordinating with the FBI Financial Crimes Unit. The FBI. Yes, wire fraud crosses state lines, becomes federal. Your son is looking at serious time. Day 52. I sat in my motel room, added it all up. Elder abuse case, Austin PD, trust violation, civil court, wire fraud, FBI, affair and financial fraud, Patricia's evidence. And underneath it all, the secret weapon. $200 million they didn't know I controlled. Bennett had said, you have 90 days. After that, statute of limitations hits on some claims. Today was day 52, 38 days left. The trap was nearly set, day 63. Patricia came to the motel, carried a binder. Heavy. Final report. How many pages? 127, 318 photographs, 52 hours of surveillance footage, 58 pages of financial records. She opened it. The first photo showed Jessica and Connor, kissing outside his apartment, 4902 Berkman Drive. 43 confirmed meetings, March through June. The relationship is sexual. Next page. Bank statements. Jessica transferred $280,000 to Connor's fund. The fund has 12 other investors. Total invested, $8.3 million. Total actual assets, approximately $12,000 in a checking account. It's a Ponzi scheme. Yes, Connor Sheffield has done this before. 2013 securities fraud in New York. Settled with SEC, paid $50,000 fine. 2018, sued by investors in Miami. Case settled confidentially. So, he's a repeat offender. Yes, and Jessica knows. Text messages indicate she researched him before their first meeting. She's not a victim. She's a co-conspirator. Correct. Patricia flipped to another section. Text messages, dozens of them. I read. Jessica to Connor, April 3rd. Just got 5M, but there's way more. Mill left at least 200M Connor to Jessica, April 3rd. How do we get it? Jessica to Connor, April 3rd. Old man has to die. Or we force early distribution. I'm working on it. Connor to Jessica, April 10th. What's the timeline? Jessica to Connor, April 10th. He's 71. Realistically 10, 15 years. But we can speed it up. Connor to Jessica, April 10th. How? Jessica to Connor, April 10th. Stress. Isolation. Nursing home with bad care. Things happen. Connor to Jessica, April 18th.
Your dark Elal Jessica to Connor, April 18th. Impractical. This is generational wealth. I'm not waiting till I'm 50. I stopped reading. There's more, Patricia said quietly. Page 89. I flipped to it. A promissory note. Scanned copy. Borrower, Ethan Morrison. Lender, Vicente Rodriguez, as take-a-pawn and loan principal. $2,800,000 interest rate. 22% monthly term. 6 months collateral. Future inheritance from the estate of Vincent Morrison upon his death. Date, April 5th, 2024. Signature, Ethan Morrison. My son borrowed $3 million from a loan shark. Vicente Rodriguez, known criminal, drug trafficking, illegal lending. Austin PD has been trying to build a RICO case against him for 3 years. And Ethan used my death as collateral. Yes, if Vicente can't collect, he'll likely come after Ethan, or you, or me. Yes, loan sharks don't care about legality, they care about collection. I closed the binder.
127 pages, 318 photographs, documentation of my son's complete moral collapse. What do I do with this? Samuel has a copy. Detective Bennett has a copy. I've also sent it to the FBI agent handling the wire fraud case. Who's that? Special Agent Diana Cooper, white-collar crimes. She's very interested in Connor Sheffield's operation. Because of Jessica? Because Cryptovelocity has 83 victims, total stolen $8.3 million. Jessica is victim number 62, but she's also the only one who appears to be a willing participant. So she's going to jail too. Almost certainly. Patricia stood. Mr. Morrison, I've been doing this for 26 years. I've seen a lot of bad behavior. But this, she gestured at the binder, this is evil. Your son bet on your death. Your daughter-in-law is actively planning to speed it up. I know. Do you? Because you seem remarkably calm. I'm not calm. I'm clear. There's a difference. What's the difference? Calm means you don't feel anything. Clear means you feel everything, but you know what to do about it. She nodded. What are you going to do? Let them keep digging until they hit bedrock. And then? Then I teach them the most expensive lesson of their lives. After Patricia left, I sat with the binder, flipped through it again, stopped on one particular text message, Jessica to Connor, May 2nd. Once old man dies, we get 200 M10M for you if you help me make it happen sooner. They weren't just waiting for me to die. They were planning it. That night my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Mr. Morrison, Vicente Rodriguez. My blood went cold. How did you get this number? Your son gave it to me. Said if he couldn't pay, maybe you would. I'm not paying my son's debts. You sure about that, viejo? Because Ethan owes me $2.8 million, plus interest. We're now at $3.1 million. And growing. That's between you and him. No, it's between you and me. He used your death as collateral. That makes you responsible. That's not legally binding. I don't care about legally, I care about collection. What are you saying? I'm saying accidents happen to old men, to sons who don't pay. Your choice, viejo. I should have been scared, but I wasn't. Mr. Rodriguez, I'm 71 years old. I survived pharmacy school, 2 recessions, and watching my wife die. You don't scare me. You should be scared. No, you should be scared, because I'm about to call the Austin PD Financial Crimes Unit. And when they trace your loan operation, which is usurious and illegal, you'll be the one with problems. Pause. You're bluffing. Try me. I hung up. Immediately called Bennett. Vince. Vicente Rodriguez just called me. Threatened me. Demanded I pay Ethan's debt. Said accidents happen to old men. That's extortion, and it's beautiful. Beautiful? That was the last piece we needed. I'm moving up the timeline. We arrest Vicente within 48 hours. Then we flip him. Flip him? Get him to testify against Ethan. About the promissory note. About the collateral. About everything. And my son? Once Vicente's in custody, we move on Ethan. When? 72 hours. Maybe less. I hung up. Sat in the motel room. Day 68. The walls were closing in on my son, and he had no idea. Day 75. Sunday afternoon. I was at the grocery store. Whole Foods on Lamar Boulevard. I felt it before I saw it. Someone following me. Turned around. 2 men. Leather jackets. Black Chevy Suburban. Plate number JKX9382. They stayed 20 feet back. Through produce, through dairy, through checkout. I paid. Walked to my car. They followed. Got in. Started driving. They followed. I called Bennett. I'm being followed. Describe the vehicle. Black Suburban. Plate JKX9382. That's one of Vicente's cars. Don't go to the motel. Drive to the police station, Northwest Precinct. I'll meet you there. I drove. They followed until I turned into the police parking lot. Then they disappeared. Bennett met me inside. They're escalating. Yeah. We need to move faster. Vicente's getting desperate. Can you arrest him? Working on it. DEA has been building a drug trafficking case. I've coordinated with them. We move in 72 hours. Tuesday night. Day 78, Monday morning. A process server knocked on my motel door. Vincent Morrison? Yes. You've been served. He handed me papers, legal documents, thick stack. I read the first page. Morrison v. Morrison Estate Plaintiff. Ethan Morrison. Defendant. Vincent Morrison, as executor of Helen Morrison Trust. Claim. Undue influence on trust formation. Relief sought. Invalidation of Helen Morrison. Revocable family trust. Distribution of entire estate to sole heir. Ethan Morrison. Estimated estate value. $200,000, 000 plus. My son was suing me, claiming I'd manipulated Helen into excluding him from the primary inheritance. If he won, the trust would be invalidated. Everything would go through probate, and as sole heir, Ethan would get all $200 million. I called Samuel. I've been served. I know. I got my copy an hour ago. Can he win? Unlikely, but not impossible. Helen made the trust when she was dying. Ethan's lawyer, Gregory Finch, is going to argue she was under duress, that you coerced her. She made it 18 months before she died. I know, but Finch is good. Dirty, but good. What are the chances? 10%, maybe 15%, but that's still a risk. What happens if he wins? Entire trust gets invalidated, goes to probate, since you're not a blood relative, just the executor. And Ethan is the only child, he gets everything. $200 million, plus the $5 million he already has. Can we fight this? Yes, but it'll take time. 6 months minimum, maybe a year. We don't have a year. I know. We need to move faster on the criminal case. Day 82, Wednesday evening. Bennett called. We arrested Vicente, 9:15 p.m., 6 officers, charged him with drug trafficking, RICO violations, and illegal loan operations. Is he talking? Not yet, but he will. His lawyer's already floating a deal. What kind of deal? Testimony against Ethan in exchange for reduced sentence. Will he take it? If it's between 30 years and 10 years. Yes. When? 24 to 48 hours. Day 82, Thursday afternoon, 3 p.m. My phone rang. Ethan. First time he'd called in 68 days. Dad. Ethan. I need to talk to you. About the lawsuit? Pause. You got served? Yes. Dad, it's what my lawyer recommended. It's not personal. You're suing me for $200 million. That's not personal. It's about Mom's money. It's not about us. Everything is about us, Ethan. Silence. Then, look, there's something else. Vicente got arrested. I heard. How did you hear? I read the news. Dad, he's going to rat me out. About the loan. About the collateral. The collateral being my death. Dad, you borrowed $3 million from a criminal. Used my death as collateral. What did you expect would happen? I expected you to help me. Why would I help you? Because you're my father. And you're my son. But you kicked me out. You're researching nursing homes to warehouse me. You're suing me. You're betting on me dying. That was just business. Legal stuff. Legal stuff. Yeah. Ethan, do you love me? Long pause. What kind of question is that? A simple one. Do you love me or do you love my money? Both. I mean, you're my dad. But also, you have money and I'm your son. So I should inherit. Should. Yes. Why? Because that's how families work. Parents leave money to kids. Even if the kids are trying to kill the parents? I'm not trying to kill you. Aren't you? Jessica's texts talk about speeding up the timeline, about stress causing heart attacks, about nursing homes with bad supervision. Silence. Then quietly. How do you know about those texts? I know everything, Ethan. The affair, the Ponzi scheme, the offshore accounts, the loan shark, all of it. You've been investigating me? Documenting you. Dad, come to the motel, tonight, 7 p.m. We need to talk. What motel? Room 216, Motel 6, 183 South the 35, Round Rock. That's where you're living? Yes. But you have money. Why are you living there? Come tonight, find out. I hung up, called Bennett. He's coming, 7 p.m. tonight. We'll be ready. Room 218, next door, full recording equipment, video and audio. He's scared. He'll talk. Let's hope so. I sat on the motel bed, looked at the walls, water stain on the ceiling, smell of cheap detergent. This room had been my home for 82 days, but tonight It would become a confession booth, and my son would convict himself with his own words. 6:45 p.m. Bennett and his team set up room 218. 3 microphones, 1 in your shirt pocket, 1 in the lamp, 1 in the bathroom smoke detector. Video? Smoke detector has a camera, wide angle, gets the whole room. Is this legal? Texas is one-party consent. You're a participant in the conversation. You have the right to record. Plus, we've coordinated with the DA's office. This is part of an active criminal investigation. What if Ethan doesn't confess? Then we move forward with what we have, but if he does confess, it's case closed. What do I need to get him to say? Bennett handed me a sheet. Questions to ask, key phrases to elicit. I read them. Ask about his financial situation. Ask about Vicente's loan. Ask about the collateral. Ask about his plans for you. Ask about Jessica. Ask if he knows about the full estate. And if he won't answer, push. Gently, he's scared. Use that. 6:58 p.m. Knock on the door. I opened it. Ethan stood there, unshaven, red eyes. He'd lost weight. Dad, come in. He walked in, looked around. You've really been living here? 78 days now. He sat on the only chair. I sat on the bed. You sounded weird on the phone. Weird how? Like, I don't know, different. I am different. Because of the lawsuit. Because of everything. I leaned forward. Ethan, tell me the truth. Do you need help? What kind of help? Vicente, the loan, $3 million. He looked at his hands. Yeah, I need help. Why did you borrow from a loan shark? Because I needed money. You had $5 million. That's not enough. Not enough for what? For everything. The penthouse, the lifestyle. Jessica wants things, nice things. So you borrowed more. Yes. Using what collateral? Pause. Dad, I don't want to talk about what collateral, Ethan. He looked up, eyes wet. The inheritance, future inheritance. From who? From you, from your estate, eventually, when I die. Yes. So you bet on my death. It's not like that. What is it like? Explain it to me. It was just a formality. Legal paperwork. Vicente needed collateral. That was all I had. You could have gotten a regular loan. No bank would lend me money. I've defaulted on 3 loans already. Bad credit. Because you spent everything I gave you. Because I made investments that didn't work out. Investments like giving $280,000 to Jessica's boyfriend? His face went white. How do you... I told you, I know everything. Dad, that was Jessica's idea. Connor has this cryptocurrency fund. It's a Ponzi scheme. 8.3 million stolen from 83 victims. FBI is investigating. FBI. Yes, Jessica's victim number 62. Except she's not really a victim, is she? She knew it was a scam. The texts prove it. Ethan stood, started pacing. You've been reading her texts. The police have. Subpoena. It's all legal. Why would the police care? Because what you and Jessica are doing is criminal. Elder financial abuse. Wire fraud. Conspiracy. We didn't... Sit down, Ethan. He sat. Let me tell you what I know. You kicked me out of my own home 10 minutes after getting $5 million. Jessica researched the cheapest nursing home she could find. 4 hours away. $800 a month. To warehouse me. To save money. Dad, I'm not finished. You borrowed $3 million from a criminal, using my death as collateral. Jessica started an affair with a con artist. She transferred money to his fake fund. You moved $700,000 offshore to hide it from taxes and creditors. How do you know about the offshore accounts? I'm the executor of your mother's trust. I have access to all financial records. But those are my private. Nothing is private when you're violating a trust. Ethan's face crumpled. What do you want from me? The truth. Do you understand what you've done? I made mistakes. Mistakes. You kicked your father out. You're suing him. You're planning to put him in a nursing home so cheap the state almost shut it down. You borrowed money betting he'd die soon. I was desperate. Why? You had $5 million. Because it wasn't enough. Because Jessica said there was more. That Mom left $200 million. That we just had to wait for you to... He stopped. To what? Silence. Finish the sentence, Ethan. To release it. To die. That's what Jessica said, wasn't it? That you had to wait for me to die. She didn't mean... What did she mean? Explain those texts. Things happen faster when people are stressed. Nursing homes with bad supervision. 10 to 15 years is too long. Ethan put his head in his hands. I never wanted this. Then why did you let it happen? Because Jessica, she has plans. Big plans, and I wanted to make her happy. By killing me? No, I never said kill. I never said that word. But you thought it. He looked up, tears streaming down his face. Maybe. I don't know. Sometimes I'd think, if it just happened naturally, sooner rather than later, we could have the life we deserve. Deserve, yeah. What makes you think you deserve anything? Because I'm your son. Because you have money. Because that's how inheritance works. Is it? Let me tell you how inheritance actually works. You earn it by being a good son, by taking care of your parents, by showing character and integrity. I have character. Do you? Because right now, you're 38 years old. You've never held a job for more than 8 months. You've failed at 6 businesses. You've borrowed millions from me and never paid it back. You kicked me out of my home. You're suing me. You borrowed money from a criminal using my death as collateral. I stood. You're not a man, Ethan. You're a child in a man's body, and I created you. I enabled you. I gave you everything, and in doing so, I destroyed you. Dad, I'm not done. Your mother saw this. She begged me to stop. She set up the trust with conditions. Do you know what those conditions were? No? That you take care of me. Provide dignified elder care. And you failed. The moment you kicked me out, you violated the trust. You forfeited the $5 million, plus interest. You owe $5,900,000. His face went pale. What? And that's not all. Criminal charges are coming. Elder abuse, wire fraud, the FBI, Austin PD. It's all happening. You're bluffing. Am I? I walked to the door, opened it. Detective Bennett walked in, 2 uniformed officers behind him. Ethan Morrison, you're under arrest for elder financial abuse and wire fraud. Ethan stared. At Bennett, at the officers, at me. Dad, you were recording me? I didn't answer. Bennett pulled out handcuffs. You have the right to remain silent. Ethan kept staring at me as they cuffed him. You did this, to your own son. I finally spoke. No, Ethan. You did this. I just documented it. They let him out. I stood in room 216, alone. 44 minutes of recorded confession. Every word admissible in court. My son was going to jail. And for the first time since Helen died, I felt something like peace. Not happiness, not victory, just clarity. Day 93, Friday morning. Travis County Jail. Booking number 2024-087512. Ethan Morrison, charged with 2 counts of elder financial abuse, 1 count of wire fraud, 1 count of conspiracy. Bail set at $500,000. He couldn't make it. The $5 million was frozen by court order. 4:30 p.m. Same day. Austin Bergstrom International Airport, Terminal 2, Gate 15. Jessica Crawford Morrison, boarding Delta Flight 1834 to Cabo San Lucas. One-way ticket. Airport police stopped her at the gate. Ma'am, we need you to come with us. What? Why? I have a flight. Jessica Morrison, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit wire fraud and accessory to elder financial abuse. She screamed, caused a scene. Security footage captured everything. Booking number 2024-087536. Day 95, Sunday, New York City. FBI agents arrested Connor Sheffield at his apartment in Tribeca, charged with securities fraud, wire fraud, operating a Ponzi scheme, crypto velocity fund, 83 victims, $8.3 million stolen, only $12,000 in actual assets. Connor confessed within 6 hours, named Jessica as a knowing participant, named Ethan as an investor who suspected fraud but invested anyway. Day 98, Wednesday, 10 a.m., Probate Court Number 3, 1000 Guadalupe Street, Austin. Judge Elizabeth Thornton presiding, 22 years on the bench. Known for elder protection advocacy. Samuel presented our case. Evidence, asterisk trust clause 7b. Page 56. Elder care requirement, asterisk recording from March 14th. 4 minutes, 23 seconds. 20 years is too long. Asterisk recording from June 30th. 44 minutes. Full confession. Asterisk Patricia Caldwell's 127-page report. 318 photographs. Asterisk bank records showing $700,000 moved offshore.
Asterisk promissory note showing Ethan's loan with Vincent Morrison's death as collateral. Asterisk text messages between Jessica and Connor discussing speeding up the timeline. Asterisk expert testimony from Dr. Annie Foster, gerontologist. The documented behavior constitutes severe emotional and financial elder abuse. Ethan's lawyer, Gregory Finch, tried to argue. Your Honor, my client was under financial stress. His father has resources he hasn't disclosed. Judge Thornton held up her hand. Counsel, are you arguing that secretly having money obligates someone to give it to an abusive child? No, Your Honor, but are you arguing that kicking an elderly parent out of their home is acceptable if you think they have money elsewhere? No, Your Honor. Then what are you arguing? Finch had no answer. Judge Thornton reviewed the evidence for 20 minutes. Then she spoke. I've been on this bench for 22 years. I've seen many cases of elder abuse, but this, she looked at Ethan, this is among the most calculated and cruel I've encountered. Mr. Morrison, Ethan Morrison, you received $5 million from your mother's trust. 10 minutes later, you evicted your 71-year-old father from his home. You researched ways to warehouse him as cheaply as possible. You borrowed money using his death as collateral. You conspired with your wife to accelerate his death to gain access to more money.
Clause 7b of the Helen Morrison Trust required you to provide dignified elder care. You not only failed to do so, you actively caused harm. She picked up her gavel. The trust distribution is hereby revoked. You are ordered to return $5 million plus statutory interest of 18%, totaling $900,000, for a total repayment of $5,900,000. Gavel. Bang. Furthermore, you are permanently barred from any future claims on the Morrison estate or any associated trusts. Bang. The lawsuit filed against Vincent Morrison is dismissed with prejudice, meaning you can never refile it. Bang. Mr. Ethan Morrison, I hope you learned something from this. Your mother tried to teach you. Your father tried to teach you. Now the law will teach you. One final bang. We are adjourned. Ethan sat at the defendant's table. Didn't look at me. Jessica sat in the gallery. Handcuffs. Orange jumpsuit. Crying. I stood. Walked out of the courtroom. Samuel followed me into the hallway. Vince, you won. Did I? Yes, completely. He loses everything. He's barred from inheritance. He faces criminal charges. Jessica faces prison time. Connor's going away for 8 years. And I have my son back? Samuel's face fell. No. Then I didn't win. You did the right thing. Did I? Or did I just destroy my son to prove a point? You tried to save him. Maybe. I looked back through the courtroom window. Ethan was being led away by bailiffs. Or maybe I just wanted revenge. If you wanted revenge, you would have told him about the $200 million, rubbed his face in it. You didn't. Not yet. What does that mean? I turned to Samuel. Activate Clause 9C. Are you sure? Helen wanted this. If Ethan failed the test, we activate the foundation. That was always the plan. When? Now, today. Get the paperwork started. It'll take a week to incorporate. 2 weeks to hold a press conference. Then 2 weeks. But I want it done. Samuel nodded. Helen would be proud. Would she? I'm not sure I am. I walked out of the courthouse, into the Austin heat, got into my Honda Accord, drove back to the motel, but when I got to room 216, I couldn't go in. Because for 98 days, that room had been my life, my prison, my sanctuary. But the case was over. I didn't need to be broken anymore. I didn't need to be poor anymore. I could go home, except I didn't have a home. So I sat in the car, in the parking lot, and for the first time since Helen's funeral, I cried. Not for me, for my son, for the little boy who used to climb into my lap and ask about pills, for the teenager who helped me count inventory, for the young man I'd been so proud of when he got into Stanford. Gone. All of him. Gone. Day 105. Tuesday afternoon. Samuel met me at a coffee shop. Brought a folder. Clause 9C. Helen's final instruction. He opened the folder, showed me a letter, handwritten, Helen's handwriting. My dearest Vince, if you're reading this, Ethan failed the test. I'm so sorry. I hoped he wouldn't. I hoped that facing consequences would wake him up. But if he failed, then it's time to activate the foundation. This was always my dream, to help people who want to work, who need opportunity, not handouts. Use the $200 million. Build scholarships. Fund free medication programs.
help pharmacy students from poor families. Do what we always wanted to do. I love Ethan, I always will. But I love him too much to enable him, and I love you too much to let you keep destroying him with money. This is my final gift, not to him. To the world he could have served, if he'd learned to think beyond himself. All my love, Helen. I read it 3 times. When did she write this? November 19th, 2021, 6 days before she died. She knew.
She'd seen the signs for years. The entitlement, the laziness, the manipulation. She just hoped the trust structure would fix it. It didn't fix it. It exposed it. Yes. I closed the folder. What do we need to do? File articles of incorporation. Texas Secretary of State. Nonprofit status. 501c3. Foundation name the Helen Morrison Foundation. Mission? Pharmacy scholarships for low-income students. Job training programs for former addicts. Free medication programs for underserved communities. Endowment. $200 million. Invested conservatively. Generates approximately $12 million per year in operating budget. Board of directors. You, me. 4 community pharmacists. 1 addiction counselor. Not Ethan. No, he's permanently barred by court order. When can we announce? September 18th, 2 weeks from now. I've already contacted the Austin American-Statesman. They want to do a front-page story. Day 108. Friday, 4 p.m. Austin Public Library. 3rd floor conference room. 32 journalists, TV cameras. Reporters from the Statesman, Austin Chronicle, Texas Tribune. Samuel at podium, me beside him. Thank you for coming. Today we're announcing the Helen Morrison Foundation, endowed with $200 million, dedicated to helping pharmacy students from low-income families. He explained the programs, scholarships, free medication, job training. Then a reporter raised her hand. Mr. Morrison, we know your son recently inherited $5 million. Will he be involved in the foundation? I leaned toward the microphone. No. Why not? He violated the trust conditions. He's been permanently barred from any inheritance. Another reporter. So he gets nothing else? Correct. But he got $5 million, which he must return, plus interest. $5,900,000 total. Murmurs through the crowd. Mr. Morrison, your son inherited money and you're taking it back and giving it all to charity? Not charity. Justice. My wife created a trust with conditions. My son failed to meet them. The trust was revoked. The money goes to its intended purpose, helping people who will use it to help others. What about your son? What about him? Do you have a relationship? Not currently. Do you want one? I paused. Thought about that question. I want my son to become the man he should have been. If that happens, maybe we can have a relationship. But it won't be built on money. It'll be built on character. What if he never changes? Then I'll love him from a distance, and I'll be at peace knowing the money went somewhere good. The press conference ended. That night, the story ran. Front page, Austin American-Statesman. Local pharmacist donates $200 million, fortune to charity after son's betrayal. The article detailed everything. The trust, the conditions, Ethan's violations. The lawsuit, the arrests, the foundation. Within hours, it went viral. National news picked it up. My phone started ringing. Day 110, Sunday, 9:15 p.m. Collect call, Travis County Jail. I accepted. Dad. Ethan. I saw the news, the foundation. The $200 million. Yes. There was $200 million? The whole time? Yes. And you're giving it all away? Your mother is. I'm just executing her wishes. Silence, then sobbing. Dad, there was $200 million and I threw you out for $5? Yes. I'm so stupid. I'm so fucking stupid. Yes, you are. More sobbing. Dad, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. When I get out, can we fix this? I leaned back, closed my eyes. Ethan, I love you. I will always love you. You're my son. So we can fix this. But love doesn't mean trust. Trust has to be earned, with years of changed behavior, not words. How many years? I don't know. Maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe never. And you have to be okay with that. That's not fair. Fair? You got $5 million. You spent it in 92 days. On champagne, designer clothes, offshore accounts, cryptocurrency scams. You didn't call me once to check if I was okay. I didn't think. Exactly. You didn't think. And more money wouldn't have taught you to think. It would have just been more champagne. The automated voice. You have 60 seconds remaining. Dad, please. I'm hanging up now, Ethan. When you get out of prison, if you get out, you'll have to show me with actions that you've changed. I won't chase you. I won't rescue you. I won't enable you. But goodbye, son. I hung up, sat in the silence of my new apartment. 2-bedroom, downtown Austin, modest. Nothing like the penthouse. But it was mine. Paid for with my money, not his. The phone rang again. Collect call. I didn't answer. For the first time in 38 years, I said no to Ethan without guilt. Freedom isn't having money. Freedom is having boundaries. 5 years later, autumn 2029. I'm 76 now, healthy, active, running the foundation full-time. The numbers, 283 pharmacy graduates, full scholarships, stipends for living expenses, 41,000 patients served through our free medication program, $18 million in medications dispensed, 12 partner clinics across Texas, national recognition. Forbes named us top 50 health philanthropy organizations in 2028. But the best part? The students. Yesterday, a young woman named Sarah graduated. First in her family to finish college, worked 3 jobs while in school, got her pharmacy license on the first try. Mr. Morrison, she said at graduation, thank you. Without this scholarship, I'd still be washing dishes. You earned it, Sarah. You did the work. But you gave me the chance. Your mother gave you the chance. Helen. This was her dream. Sarah hugged me. Tell Mrs. Morrison thank you. I do, every day. The foundation office is at 2400 Nueces Street. Small building, 6 employees, good people. I work Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. Volunteer at a clinic Tuesday and Thursday evenings. I have a life, friends, purpose. Samuel and I have coffee every Sunday. Patricia Caldwell sends me Christmas cards. Detective Bennett retired last year. We had lunch to celebrate. I'm okay. Better than okay. I'm fulfilled. But there's one piece missing. One afternoon in October, someone knocks on my office door. Come in. The door opens. Ethan. He's 43 now. Thinner. Older. Different eyes. Dad, can I come in? I stand. Ethan. We shake hands. Awkward. Sit. He sits across from my desk. Holds a folder. I'm not here for money. Good, because there isn't any for you. I know, I wanted to show you something. He opens the folder. Hands me a document. Pharmacy Technician Certification, State of Texas, issued to Ethan Morrison, date August 12, 2029. You got certified. Yeah, took me 3 tries to pass the exam, but I did it. Where are you working? CVS, 1521 West 5th Street, $16.50 an hour. That's good. It's honest. First honest money I've made in years. He pulls out another paper. Pay stub, $600, biweekly. That's my gross. After taxes and garnishment, I take home about $400. Garnishment? Court-ordered repayment, $5,900,000, 25-year payment plan. They take 30% of my gross. I do the math. At $16.50 an hour, working full-time, 30% garnishment. He'll be paying this debt until he's 68 years old. And you're okay with that? I have to be. I did this to myself. We sit in silence. Then Ethan says, Jessica got out last year. Federal prison. Served 3 years. Where is she now? Don't know. Don't care. We divorced in 2026. Haven't spoken since... I'm sorry. Don't be. It was the best thing that happened to me. In prison, I had time to think. About Mom. About you. About who I'd become. And I was a monster. I was everything you raised me not to be. I raised you to be entitled. I gave you everything. You gave me love. I turned it into entitlement. That's on me. More silence. Why are you here, Ethan? He reaches into his pocket, pulls out another paper. Job application. The foundation website says you're hiring a pharmacy tech. I look at the application. You want to work here? I'm qualified. I have my license. I've been working for 2 years. I'm sober. I'm stable. Why here? Because I want to do something that matters, something that would make Mom proud. There are other places, but this one is Mom's dream, and maybe if I help with her dream, I can start to make up for destroying mine. I read the application, references, current employer, work history. Ethan, I'm proud of your progress, the sobriety, the job, the certification. I really am. But No but. I am proud. And yes, you can apply. HR will review your application like any other candidate. If you're the most qualified, you'll get an interview. If you ace the interview, you'll get the job. No favoritism, no favoritism, no shortcuts. You earn it. He nods. For the first time, I see something in his eyes I haven't seen in years. Respect. Fair enough. He stands, walks to the door, stops. Dad, thank you. For what? For not giving up sooner. For letting me fall. I wouldn't have learned otherwise. I smile. Thank you for not giving up on yourself, Ethan. He leaves. I sit at my desk. Look at his application. Maybe he'll get hired, maybe not. Maybe we'll rebuild our relationship. Maybe not. But for the first time, the relationship isn't built on money. It's built on mutual respect. And that's the first step. Underscore, 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 underscore. So that's my story. 5 million lost, 200 million helping thousands of people. And my son, he's learning, slowly, painfully, but learning. If you're struggling with entitled children, toxic family members, or thinking about inheritance, remember this. Character before cash. Always. The greatest gift you can give isn't money. It's the chance to earn their own life. Comment where you're listening from. Share this if someone needs to hear it. And if you're a parent wondering, am I spoiling my child? Trust your gut. Set boundaries now. Love them enough to let them struggle. That's how Helen loved Ethan. And ultimately, that's how I learned to love him too. Not by giving everything, but by giving him the chance to become someone who doesn't need everything. That's the lesson. That's the legacy. And that's enough.